We're gonna get started. All right, we are recording. Okay, hello. I think I know everyone here. I'm Jazz. Happy Sunday evening, and thank you for joining me for meal prep today. We're gonna make 6 different meals. We have chia pudding and overnight oats. I'm gonna teach you how to make so many different variations. So I'll give you the spiel first and then we'll get started. And the spiel is, if you could go ahead and mute yourselves. And then if you ever have a question, just unmute yourself and ask the question, because chances are if you have a question, someone else might have the question too. If I'm ever going too fast, just stop me. That's totally fine. I want this to be as interactive as possible. And if you ever have like ideas on what you've done in the past that's worked for you, share. So this can be a very interactive experience. And then I just wanted to show you that you are on my phone, so I can take you along the kitchen with me. And then I have all my ingredients here and I have you guys up on a screen. So I can kind of keep track of where everyone is if I'm looking over here. So we're actually going to start with overnight oats. And we have all the ingredients. As you can see, it's simple ingredients, and I'm going to show you how to kind of substitute if you wouldn't have certain things on hand. But the first thing we're going to get started with is, so overnight oats are easy. Has anyone made them? Show of hands. Okay, so it's very easy. This class requires no cooking. All we need are a few jars. So for the oats, we're actually going to make them individually. So if you have 3 jars or 3 Tupperware of any sort with a lid pretty tight, get those out. So I have, you can use something like this. I have my mason jars. I also have some jars that look like this. So I'm kind of going to use all of those. So go ahead and get those and open them up, and we'll kind of set our station up.
So if it's cool, I'm using like a really big one, and I was just gonna like scoop it out throughout the week. Is that
perfect? No, that's great. So that's a really good point. If you wanted to make a bigger batch, and you could just make it, you could even make it in a bowl like this and really mix it well. Yeah, okay. And then throw it in the jar and scoop it out during the day. Great question.
I ran out
perfect. Of small one. Yep, perfect. So you have that option. And to each jar, we're actually going to get started with the oats. So we have our beautiful oats. These can be any sort of oats. You can use quick cooking oats. You can use just regular oats. So rolled oats, that's what I mean. So the quick cooking oats, sometimes those can become kind of mushy, but I like that. I mean, it's fine. It's oatmeal. That's how it's kind of supposed to be. So gluten-free, use gluten-free if necessary. So into each one of these 3 jars, I want you to scoop a half of a cup of oats. So any oats, and just go ahead and scoop a half a cup into each jar. And I'm just going to do it into different jars so you can see kind of how I'm doing it. Pretty simple. And oats are actually great. They're a complex carbohydrate, which gives us energy. So that's what we want, especially to start the day. We want that energy. Okay, so we got our oats into each. And so then we're going to go in with actually about half of a cup of milk or water, anything that you have on hand. So you can, when I say plant milk, all I mean is just any milk you have on hand. You can even use regular milk. So that's, that could be soy milk, oat milk, almond milk, coconut milk, regular cow's milk, anything that you have. So you're going to go in with about half of a cup into each. So one of these, I'm going to go in with milk. And this is all the milk that I have. And I know that we're going to need it for our chia pudding. And it actually tastes just as good with water. So I wanted to show you that we can also use water. So if you were using water, it would just be the same. It would be half of a cup, just like that. Into each. How's everyone doing so far? Very complicated, I know. This is the best. It's great. Okay, so we have our oats and our milk in the jar. And next we're actually going to go in with our chia seeds. So other substitutions here. I know we have chia seeds because we're going to use them for the other recipe, but if you had flax seeds, those would work. If you had hemp seeds on hand, those would also work. So if you have those in your kitchen, go ahead and add those in as well. So your 1 tablespoon of these chia seeds, and chia seeds have a ton of fiber. We're actually going to get into some of the benefits when we make the chia pudding, but go in with those chia seeds. And this is going to actually be what adds a little bit of healthy fats into this recipe, as well as some protein. And those will both help keep you full throughout the day. Next up, we're going in with some nut butter. So this can be nut butter, it can be seed butter, maybe you're using a cashew butter, maybe a peanut butter, maybe an almond butter. So do you guys want to share what you're using if you are using nut butter? About 1 tablespoon in each.
Hey Jazz, I have a question.
Yeah.
I was gonna use, instead of the chia seeds, I was gonna use my brown flaxseed. I typically like to do like a tablespoon. Is that like too much? Yeah. Okay.
No, that's perfect. So that's a really good question. If you guys were to substitute with anything else, so since we're going in with 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, swap it for 1 tablespoon of flax seeds or 1 tablespoon of hemp seeds. So whatever you have on hand is great, and you'll just go 1 to 1. 1 tablespoon works perfect.
Yeah, because I like to do the ground, just because the actual seeds, they like give me a stomach ache.
Yeah, and your body will.
So a tablespoon?
Yep, exactly. So anything ground, so that's really great point. If you ever come across ground chia seeds or ground flax seeds, it's all going to be a 1-to-1 between the ground version and the whole seed. So great question. And hopefully that clears it up, is just go exactly 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds would equal 1 tablespoon of chia seeds.
Perfect.
Yep. You're actually, to that point, your body will be able to absorb it much better if it is ground. So that's great that you're using it. We're going in with 1 tablespoon of some sort of nut butter. Any nut butter works. I'm using a cashew butter here. Does anyone want to share what they're using?
Peanut butter, Wild Friends.
Yum. There we go. Oh, there's sunflower seed butter. I see that. What else are we using? I like to just get ideas. No?
I'm using an all-natural peanut butter, but I like to make like a coconut butter just by like putting it in the food processor.
So you put coconut in the food processor and you make coconut butter that way?
Shredded coconut. If you just like keep it going in the food processor, it makes a butter.
Love that.
I add like a little bit of almond butter to it for like a better like consistency, but the flavor is really good.
I love that. That sounds delicious. We'll have to try that. Yeah. So what's great is you just use whatever you have on hand. Sometimes I have almond butter. Sometimes I have peanut butter. Any sort of nut will also just give you that healthy fat. So that's perfect. So we have our nut butter in there now along with the chia seeds and the oats. And next up, we're actually going to go in with some sweetener. So I want you to think about how sweet you like things. If you're someone who likes a dash of sweetness, you're going to add about maybe half of a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of sweetener. If you're someone who likes a little bit more, add 1 tablespoon. So if you have questions here, just let me know. If you're like, I don't know, I like sweet, but I don't know exactly how much to add, just flag me down, just unmute yourself and ask away. But typically I like to add like some fruit on top when I serve it. And I really do find that that fruit gives me a lot of sweetness. So I tend to go a little bit lower on the sweetness when I'm making these overnight oats, but it's really up to you. You know your taste buds. Does anyone have any questions here on how much sweetener they're going to be adding, or they should be adding?
Yeah, I forgot how much you said.
So if you like it really sweet, I would do about 1 tablespoon. That's going to be pretty sweet. If you like it a little less sweet, you can go in with anywhere from half of a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon. For context, I'm adding half of a teaspoon. But like there's no right or wrong, no judgment. Does anyone have a protein powder that they're planning to add, whether that be a collagen or something of that sort? Jack, Rebecca, anyone else? Okay, no. So here's an option. If you're not adding a protein powder, you can just listen along. If you are adding a protein powder, I'm going to give you a few options. So you could add like an unflavored collagen here. That would not take away any of the flavor or the taste. And you would add about a tablespoon of it. Not more than that, because sometimes I find that it really overpowers it. And so you'll just add that collagen. If you are adding a protein powder, just note that it's going to taste like the protein powder. So if you're not in love with your protein powder, maybe don't add it because your oatmeal will taste like it. But a fun thing to do here is actually add chocolate protein powder if you have it into this, and then it becomes chocolate oats, which is really fun. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients, and now what we're going to do is we're just going to give it a nice stir. So go ahead and take a spoon and begin to just stir it up. So you'll see that the chia seeds have probably expanded just a little bit, which is great. And all we want to do is just any clumps, we just want to kind of make sure that they're all out. And so as we're stirring, I'm going to give you a few more benefits of oats, because every time we eat the overnight oats, we can think about everything it's doing for us. So oats contain a ton of fiber. They're actually really great for skin health. So you can kind of think of it nourishing your skin and kind of absorbing and nourishing your skin in terms of making sure that it has hydration. So that's really neat. Okay. So the consistency should look like this. Let me point my camera down. So here we go. All right, so it's pretty thick. And what's going to happen here is you leave it in the fridge for at least 2 hours, preferably 6 to 8 hours. This stays in the fridge with a top on it. And what happens tomorrow morning is if you decide that you want to eat the oats tomorrow morning, you open it up and this is going to be thick and juicy. It is going to be so delicious. You have two options. You can A, put it in the microwave, put it into the stovetop and heat it up just a little bit, and then you add your toppings, or you can consume it just like this. So as is, just like this. And then what I actually added to the bottom of your recipe cards are my topping options, different toppings that we may add. So like I mentioned, I love adding fruits. Maybe you have some fresh berries you can add. Maybe you add a sliced banana. Maybe you add some nuts, some seeds, some granola. Maybe you have a scoop of yogurt that you want to add. Really, there's so many different options that you can add. You can certainly just eat it like this too. So that's totally up to you. Does anyone have any favorite options or favorite flavors of overnight oats that they have made in the past that they love?
I love the peanut butter. I always add peanut butter. Sometimes I'll do like chocolate chips and then strawberries. That's like those three things together. That's my favorite.
There you go. There you go. It doesn't get better than that. Yeah. And so we added peanut butter in here, but definitely add it on top too. I find it really delicious when you add a little bit on top. Anyone else?
So I really like Granny Smith green apple.
Oh, yes.
And if I cut up like a half and I do it really small dice, it is so filling along with the oatmeal. Like I feel like full for hours after eating it. And plus it's like delicious because you have like that tang plus the sweet. So I really like that.
That's a really good one. Yeah, you can't go wrong. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. I always tell myself that when I eat an apple. So here are, I don't know if you guys have a pen and paper or if you just want to use your brains, but I'm going to give you 3 other flavor options for oatmeal. So next day you add coconut flakes and pineapple. You got a pina colada overnight oats. That's really nice and tropical as it gets hotter in the summer. Maybe add some kiwi on there. So play around with that flavor. Another flavor is like a peanut butter and jelly, really similar to what Danielle just said. Add maybe some jam if you have jam, or just some fresh berries like strawberries, and then a scoop of peanut butter or almond butter. And that kind of makes it like a fun peanut butter and jam. And then the other one I had was a banana bread. So for here, you would take a banana and you would mash it up and you would add it into the oats. And then you would just serve it with a little bit of walnuts and pecans, maybe some extra cinnamon on top. So yeah, those are 3 different flavor options you can play with. And then I actually realized that we didn't add salt, and that's actually really, really important. So if you haven't closed up your jars yet, what I want you to do is add a pinch of salt. And by what I mean by a pinch of salt is you'll add maybe about, I want to give you a measurement in case you want one, like 1/2 of an 1/8 of a teaspoon if you want a measurement, or you can literally just take your finger and, as it says, literally a pinch of salt goes into it. And the salt really brings out the sweetness. So it is really important. You'll be surprised how much salt actually goes and does good for it. So mix that up again. How do we feel about our overnight oats? Any questions? And you could also, if you wanted to add the fruit, you could totally add it now. If you have frozen fruit on hand, as an option is actually to just add your frozen fruit now. And when you wake up in the morning, they might be like blue from the blueberries. That would be delicious. That would be great. So there's so many different options, and all you do is you just put the top on and this goes in the fridge. And I just want to prepare you for tomorrow. You wake up and you're like, man, this is really a hard consistency. I would like it to be more liquidy. No problem. Just add a little bit of water or a little bit more plant-based milk. Stir it up and it's perfect to go. Any questions?
One question I had, so I always have like my collagen in my coffee in the morning. So that's why I was kind of thinking like, oh, I won't add it to this because I always put it in my coffee. And I used to work like with Vital Protein, so I know I told everybody like it dissolves, you don't have to worry about it. But for some reason, when I do overnight oats, I always think like, will it fully dissolve? Because it's like there is liquid, but there's not a lot of liquid. So do you find that you ever get like chunks of it?
I don't, but I stir it really, really well. So I've never had a problem when I've been adding protein into my oatmeal for the last 3 years. So I've never had a problem. I really do believe that it makes a difference on how well you really stir it together, really get those clumps out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. It was just the one thing I was like, for some reason, putting it in overnight oats, I was like, I don't know if it would dissolve all the way.
Yeah.
I just got their chocolate one, so maybe I'll try that.
Try that. Yeah. Make yourself some chocolate protein oats. Yeah. Collagen oats. So here are our jars. So we're just going to set these aside, throw these in your fridge. And another thing I wanted to mention is if you are individually putting them in the fridge, this can go in the freezer for 3 months. Throw this in the freezer, and when you're ready to consume it and you're like, oh, quick, I need a breakfast, thaw it out the night before in the fridge and then enjoy it. Does that help? Thumbs up. Sweet. Chia pudding. This is a new one, right? Not a lot of people have made chia pudding. Raise your hand if you have made chia pudding before. Okay, yeah, so it's new. Jackie makes some delicious chia puddings. I see you. All right, we got a big bowl for this one. We're actually going to make this one in a big bowl, and then we're going to whisk it together and we're going to individually divide it in between 3. So chia seeds, we are going to use so what I want to do actually is I'm going to have us actually add our liquid first. So did everyone find a can of coconut milk? Perfect. Okay, so let's open this can all together if it's not already. This is the secret ingredient for making it so delicious. You got your coconut milk. It contains MCT oil, which actually helps lower LDL cholesterol. LDL, the way I think about it is LDL. You want to keep it low because it starts with an L, and then HDL is the high one. So here we go. Our beautiful coconut milk. It's looking real good, and we're going to actually throw it into this big bowl. So there'll be some cream, there will be some water, all combined together. Throw it into the bowl. Is anyone concerned with what they see? Sometimes it's new. Nope, it's normal. It's going to be a little liquidy, a little chunky with the coconut. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need. Okay, so from here, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of chia seeds. So 1/2 cup of chia seeds go into this bowl. Okay. And chia seeds contain antioxidants, which help for anti-aging. So they're really great. They contain tons of fiber, and it's going to help keep you full for the day, which is great. It also contains some protein in them. So here we go. Our chia seeds are now in the bowl with coconut milk. I know that I added almond milk here, but I'm going to have you guys omit that, and we're just going to whisk this for a minute. So we have our chia seeds and our coconut milk in the bowl, and we're just going to whisk it or stir it around just for a little bit. I want you to try to get rid of any clumps that you might see. Chia seeds also help promote digestion. So if you notice that you might like have to go to the restroom afterwards, that's good. It's kind of moving things along your digestive system.
Jess, you said a 1/2 cup of chia seeds?
Yes, 1/2 cup of chia seeds. Yep. So you just want to get rid of any clumps, and you'll see, like, you'll start to stir and be like, oh, I got all the clumps out. And then you'll be like, nope, I didn't. So just whisk or stir. And then we're going to go in with our flavorings. So what we're going to go in with here is about 1 teaspoon of vanilla. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Any vanilla works. If you want to use vanilla bean, that's great. If you don't have it, that's okay. Use what you have. Give it a nice little stir. And then we're actually going to add some cinnamon. Where are my cinnamon lovers? Yes, everyone. I know, I'm like, just a little bit of cinnamon and I end up dumping half the bottle. So the recipe calls for about half of a teaspoon, but I love cinnamon. So I'm going to add a full teaspoon of cinnamon. I really like that spice. So go in with anywhere from half of a teaspoon to a full teaspoon of cinnamon. You'll start to really smell that fragrance. And then same with the overnight oats, we always want to add some salt. So just again, a pinch of salt. If you need a measurement, about half of one of those 1/8 teaspoons of salt. Pink salt is also really great. What I like to do is, like, if I have a workout where I sweat a lot and I find that I lost a lot of electrolytes, what I'll do is I will make sure to add that salt into a smoothie or oats or chia pudding, and that kind of replenishes the electrolytes. Does anyone see their chia seeds beginning to actually fluff a little bit? They're beginning to expand. That's good. That's perfect. So what's going to happen is while you leave this in the fridge overnight, it's going to thicken a little more. And so the next day when you wake up, remember that tapioca pudding that we used to have when we were younger? Yes, the chocolate and the vanilla one. I haven't had those in so long. I wonder what they would taste like now. But that's what it's going to look like. It's going to be thick and it's going to be delicious. And what we're going to do now is add our sweetener. So this is when you actually want to add a little bit of sweetener. So contrary to the oats, I love the flavor of oats, but the chia seeds do need something. So we're going to add a little bit of maple syrup here. If you don't have maple syrup, use honey, use agave, use brown sugar, really whatever you have is okay. And if you want a measurement, I would say anywhere from 2 tablespoons to about 1/4 of a cup. Again, you know your sweetness level and your sweetness desire. Any questions on the amount of maple syrup? I can kind of help advise you.
Jess, I think I missed a step. Was I supposed to do a 1/2 cup of plant-based milk along?
No, so you didn't miss a step. And we're going to omit that for now, because what I want to do is I want to reserve that 1/2 cup of almond milk for tomorrow. In case we wake up, yep, you're good. In case we wake up and we find that the chia pudding is just a ball, it's really thick and gooey. If that's what it looks like, then that's when you're going to add about a tablespoon or two of your plant-based milk into that and kind of allow it to melt in, stir it up. However, the chia seeds will probably absorb really well, and this might be perfect just without the almond milk. But I wanted to give you guys that option in case you find that, oh, I would like it a little more runny. That's when you would add that plant-based milk.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that was confusing. I confused you, I know. All right, did we add our sweetener? Perfect. Okay, so last step is our protein. I assume, are we adding protein into this one? I assume the people that added protein into the oats are going to also add protein into the chia pudding. Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
proteins for this one. I'll grab it.
Yes, go use some protein. Okay, so we got our jars. So this recipe is ready to go. Did you see how easy it was? It's actually very easy. So you have different options with this. This chia pudding in particular, I absolutely love making it chocolate flavored. It is one of the best things on planet Earth, and I want to show you how to make it chocolate flavored. So if you happen to have a chocolate flavored protein powder, I want you to try to grab something. And I want you to try to make one of these, a chocolate flavored protein. Unless you're like, I hate chocolate, then maybe omit this. So we have our beautiful.
Would cacao powder taste weird?
Yes. No, I was gonna say that would be perfect.
Okay.
Sometimes, if you do you have that, Amy?
Yeah, I do.
Perfect. So sometimes cacao powder can taste a little bitter, where you might need to offset it with a little bit extra sweetener. but that would be amazing because it also has a ton of antioxidants. So it's going to be great for our skin. It has magnesium, which is going to be great for going to bed and relaxing our muscles. So yes, use that. And I'll actually tell you exactly how much.
Perfect.
Yep. Okay, so let's divide our chia pudding evenly into our 3 containers. We got 1. And you can do the same thing with this one. You could always freeze it. We got 2. And we got 3. So you've most likely gotten all the clumps out, which is perfect. And what's going to happen is, again, 6 hours minimum for this chia pudding, preferably overnight. It's just going to sit in the fridge and it's going to continue to gel all together. So I'm going to teach you how to make it into chocolate flavored. If you have a chocolate protein powder, I'm going to add a little less than 1 scoop of chocolate protein powder into one of these. I'm just going to go into the middle one. So if you're adding cacao powder, I also have that, so I'm going to show you. If you're adding cacao powder, go in with about 1 tablespoon of cacao powder, 1 tablespoon of cacao powder. And if you have chocolate protein powder, you're going to go ahead and add that chocolate protein powder along with the cacao powder in there. So that's only if you're making it a chocolate flavored. And you're just going to stir that around in the jar itself. I know you're stirring, but if you can, unmute yourself. Are you using, let me know if you're going to try this chocolate flavored one. Yeah, I know Amy is. What did you say?
I ended up doing it for all of it. So
there we go. Perfect. Yeah.
I've had this cacao powder for like quite some time. So right when you said, I was like, no, I need to use it.
Yes, use it 100%. It's actually going to be great. So this one is going to be chocolate flavored. Like I mentioned, cacao powder doesn't have any sweetener in it. It can typically be a little bitter. So all you'll do is you'll just taste it and you'll see what it tastes like. If you feel like you want to add some more sweetener, which you might, just add sweetener and it'll balance out that bitterness. Hi, Leo. He's different. All right, so as you can see, it's actually starting to gel up already. This is really good. This is what it looks like. This particular recipe, this chocolate chia pudding, is really great with some raspberries or some strawberries. Really think of it as like a chocolate berry combo. So what you'll do is, now that we've kind of mixed everything up, if you weren't adding chocolate protein powder, maybe you were adding collagen, and maybe you add just a spoon of collagen into each one. So I'm actually going to do that for one of them. I'm actually going to do that for 2 of them. So I'll add my collagen and I'm mixing it up. The tops go on these and they go straight into the fridge. Tomorrow morning, you wake up, you decide, do I want chia pudding or do I want overnight oats? If you go for the chia pudding, just open it up and just kind of put your spoon through it and see what the consistency is like. It really depends on your personal desire. So if you like it a little thicker, you'll probably get it thick just as is. If you like it a little runnier, that's when you would add that extra plant-based milk that we reserved. And then you go in with your toppings. Again, on your recipe card that I send you a bunch of different optional toppings: strawberries, bananas, maybe frozen berries. Those are really delicious. You have some cacao nibs or chocolate chips like Danielle mentioned a little earlier. Those are so delicious. I always recommend doing that. Some almonds, nuts, seeds, use what you have on hand. I particularly love adding granola into this. So just like that, we just stir it up. And then we just throw it in the fridge, and the next day we'll just come back to it and enjoy. And you got 3 breakfasts. You got 6 breakfasts. Any of these could be eaten for lunch or for a snack as well. But hopefully this allows you to play with it and realize that now you have these ingredients. Maybe you can go back and try different flavor combos, and you're getting so much fiber and so much protein into your recipes. So hopefully that was helpful. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
Do you usually heat yours up, or do you usually have it cold, or you like 50-50?
So with the overnight oats, I need to heat them up. I love eating them warm. For the chia pudding, I keep it cold. I like it cold and chilled. It's a total preference. Does anyone else have a preference? I mean, like, does anyone like to heat their chia pudding up? Do you usually heat it up, Charlotte?
So I've never done chia pudding. I usually eat my oats cold, but that's usually out of convenience and not preference. So I might
Yeah, it's total preference thing. Yep. Jack or Danielle, do you guys have an opinion? I know you unmuted yourself.
Oh yeah, no, I've only eaten both of them cold. When you said you heat up your overnight oats sometimes, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try that. I've never tried it hot.
Yeah.
I do mine cold for sure. Convenience, if I need to take it out, or like I would do it when I would travel back and forth between Ohio and North Carolina, so I can eat it on the road. And then another tip I have with the protein, when you mix it with the overnight oats, shake the protein and the milk up in a shaker bottle, then pour it over your oats. It's mixed, no clumps.
Jack to the rescue. That's a really great tip. Sometimes you could even take a milk frother, right, Jack?
Yep.
And probably froth the milk with the protein and get the clumps out that way, and then add your oats. It's really good. I love it. I love learning.
Cold brew coffee, so.
Yeah, that's so true. Perfect. So with that, we're done. I'll stay on if we have any other questions, but I want you guys to think of me when you're eating this, please. And hopefully it's good. You can find me on Instagram. If you have any questions tomorrow, if you're like, wait, this looks weird, reach out to me, email me. You have my email too, reach out, but let me know. I'm happy to walk through it. But overall, this should be pretty delicious and it should be easy. If you feel like it needs more sweetener, simple. Add a little bit of maple syrup on top. So hopefully that helps. And hopefully I just made your mornings a little easier this week and you guys can have time for doing other important things.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Okay, of course, you guys have such a great night. Take pictures for me and send it.
Thank you, Jazz.
Bye. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.